Hello, welcome to the Last Supper of Outcasts. And I'm your host, Diogenes the Cynic. Today is Monday, August 24th, 2026. Not that it matters. Here is today's quote of the day. Of what use is a philosopher who doesn't hurt anybody's feelings? And there you have it. There's today's quote of the day by the host of today's show, Diogenes the Cynic. There's a famous story where Diogenes has an encounter with Alexander the Great. It states that when the powerful conqueror stood over Diogenes and asked him if there was anything he could do for him, Diogenes replied, "Move. You're blocking the sun." Now, here was Alexander the Great, one of the most powerful men who had ever lived, even into this time, standing over a man who owned virtually nothing, and Alexander was asking what he could do for him. And Diogenes simply asked him to move. Needless to say, Diogenes has been a hero of mine for a very, very long time. And as you're about to see, and as you may already know, I am not a big fan of humanity. I don't want to hurt it, but I don't want to help it either. Every trouble it has, every problem it has, in my opinion, it has brought on itself, seemingly in the name of progress. Progress. Everything's progress. When did simply living an honest life become insufficient? Why are we constantly being told that we must fix, save, improve, optimize, rescue, and transform the world? And what if refusing that obligation isn't selfish, but sane? Maybe the problem is that we've been taught to confuse responsibility with obligation. We're told that we have to have a purpose. We're told we have to make a difference. We're told we have to leave the world a better place than we found it. We're told to build something, accomplish something, contribute something. And if we're not doing any of those things, we're somehow wasting our lives. My question is, who decided that? Who decided that a human being arrives on this planet already owing the world something? And more importantly, what if they were wrong? As for myself, I've been told a multitude of times that the world doesn't owe me anything. So why would I and why should I feel like I owe the world anything? As far as I'm concerned, me and the world are even. It doesn't owe me, and therefore, I don't owe it. To me, that's logic at its finest and most concise. And if we humans have indeed been fixing the world, we're doing a lousy, and I mean a lousy job. Just look at the world. Just look around. The world is as much of a disaster as it has ever been, despite our constant attempts to fix it and to improve it. Anybody with half a brain cell should be able to see this. Our best efforts at fixing things ain't working, folks. Duh. Duh. Even a sub-moron could see that. So, the way I've decided to make a difference in the world is to leave it alone. Stop touching it. Stop playing with it. The world doesn't need me or you, believe it or not, to fix it. It doesn't need any of us. If anything, we need it. In fact, the world will probably be just fine without us. Possibly even better. Humans, to me, are like an invasive species, sort of like a cancer or a bacteria. We reproduce, spread, consume, alter our environment, and then congratulate ourselves for the pollution and desecration. And still we have the nerve to call all this progress. Progress. But what if we're actually doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing? What if our job and entire purpose is simply to consume and destroy, just like an insect, a rat, or a cancer? And what if calling that destruction progress is nothing more than a convenient way of making ourselves feel better about it? I'm being 100% serious. We take our efforts to build, accomplish, contribute, and make a difference and call them progress. Again, in quotes. But what if the world itself, which I believe wholeheartedly is a living being, and maybe the world isn't the best term, maybe the earth is a better term. What if the earth sees those efforts differently? What if the earth sees our efforts as interference? What if the earth sees our efforts as destruction? What if we're simply interfering with something that never asked for our help in the first place? Think about that. I don't know if anybody else has noticed, but human beings are disgustingly certain and disgustingly arrogant about everything. We think we know what's best for everything. We think we know what's best for the planet. We think we know what's best for animals. We think we know what's best for other human beings. We think we know what's best for the future. Hell, we think we know what's best for people who aren't even born yet. And here's the really funny part. Hilarious, if you ask me. We don't even know what the fuck we're doing. At all. We're too stupid to know it and to admit it. And we're too arrogant to know it and to admit it. We do know a hell of a lot about manipulating the world. We can split atoms. For what purpose, nobody really knows. We can manipulate genes. Again, why? Every one of these would be why after the statement. We can send machines into space. Why? We can create artificial intelligence. Why? Like a baby asking a simple question. We can completely transform the environment around us. Again, why? We are fantastic, and I mean pros, professional, fantastic at destruction. And that's about all we're good at. Just look around you, folks. You can see it with your own eyes. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this shit out. The real question is, do we actually understand what we're doing? Do we understand consciousness? Do we understand why we are here? Do we really understand what happens when we die? Do we even understand our own minds? And I would posit, no, not at all, not even close, not even remotely close. But here's the kicker. We think we do. And I'm not going to get all upset over this. But boy, we are stupid. We are some dumb. We are dumb. We're dumber than dogs. We're dumber than any, like a fruit fly. We're that dumb. And we just do not know it. And yet somehow we've convinced ourselves that we're qualified to redesign the entire planet. That's not humility. That's insanity and arrogance on an epic scale. And this insanity and arrogance, it's with a marketing degree, a marketing department, and lots of acne. And this brings me to what I think might be humanity's biggest problem. And it's not that I think it's humanity's biggest problem. It is. These are humanity's biggest problems, plural. Number one, certainty. We're certain. We ain't certain about shit. And number two, we're arrogant when we have no right to be arrogant about anything, because we don't have a fucking clue what's going on here. We just think we do. Let me take a deep breath. I need to settle down. We're constantly certain about things we do not understand. Throughout history, we've been certain about God. We've been certain about morality. We've been certain about politics. We've been certain about economics. We've been certain about human nature. We've been certain about what constitutes progress. Certain. When we don't have a fucking clue. And then every once in a while we discover that we were wrong, and sometimes we will admit it, and that we'll go ahead and change the answer, and then we become absolutely certain about the new answer. Until we discover that we were wrong again. Life has a funny way of playing that trick on us. We're the only animal or parasite that life plays that trick on, in my opinion, because we're that arrogant and we're that stupid. That's why the rug keeps getting pulled out from under us, because of the arrogance and the stupidity that we collectively have as a human garbage species, a human parasite. And somehow we never seem to learn the obvious lesson. Maybe the problem isn't that we haven't found the right answer yet. Maybe the problem isn't that we're addicted to having an answer. We don't know what consciousness is. We don't know why we're here. We don't know whether we're alone in the universe. We don't know what happens after death. We don't even fully understand the thing we're using to contemplate all of these questions, our own minds. And yet, we're absolutely convinced that we know what's best for everybody and everything else. And that's the part I find fascinating, and it disgusts me. Not ignorance, but the certainty and the disgusting arrogance we carry around like a badge of honor. Ignorance, at least, has the virtue of being honest. I don't know is a perfectly legitimate answer. In fact, I think it's probably one of the most honest answers a human being can give. I don't know. But we don't like saying it. We'd rather invent an answer, join a group, pick a side, find somebody who sounds like they know what they're talking about, and then simply repeat what they said. That's how humans seem to work. The blind leading the blind. We listen to the cancer that came before us, the sheep that came before us, the parasites that came before us, the liars that came before us, the cowards that came before us, because we don't have the nerve to admit we don't know. We don't have it in our cells. It doesn't exist. And then we pass down the same shit to the next generation and still have the nerve to call it knowledge. It's not knowledge, it's bullshit. This is the key to why human beings, at least this in my own little universe, human beings disgust me, and I don't want anything to do with them. Maybe that's why I've always understood Diogenes. He wasn't trying to make civilization more comfortable with itself. He was holding up a mirror, and civilization didn't particularly like what it saw. Big surprise. And maybe that's what philosophy is supposed to do. Not tell us what to think, not tell us how to save the world, not give us another set of commandments. Maybe philosophy is simply supposed to make us uncomfortable enough to question what we think we know. And I promise you, we don't know shit about Shinola. Nothing. Nothing. So if that's the case, Diogenes, in my opinion, was one hell of a philosopher. If you don't know who Diogenes is, look him up. I'm not going to describe him to you. You should know who he is. If you have half a brain cell, you should know who Diogenes is. Stop looking at pictures of cats and look up something that means something. I'm not convinced humanity's greatest problem is ignorance. I'm convinced it's certainty and the arrogance that it seems to come with. And that's where I come back to the title of this episode. Even if I could save the world, I wouldn't. And it's not because I hate the world, not because I think nothing matters, and not because I believe I have all the answers. I don't. I don't have any answers. Quite the opposite. I don't know what the world needs, but neither does anybody else. And I implore you to stop pretending that you do. The government doesn't know, the corporations don't know, the philosophers don't know, the preachers don't know, the scientists don't know, and the billionaires certainly don't know. They're all pretending, folks, so they can steal and rob your wallet. And the guy screaming at you on the television, maybe someone like me, I don't know, and I admit it. But that's where I differ from all these other parasitic type beings. I admit I don't know. Nobody fucking knows. So let's all stop pretending as if we do. It's a pretty simple solution, don't you think? Maybe the most honest thing we can do is finally admit we don't know shit about anything. We don't need another person telling us how to fix everything. They don't know either. We need a few more people willing to say, I don't know. And this is not a failure. This is where wisdom begins. As for me, I'm not here to save the world. I'm just a witness. And if this is too harsh, I don't care. Well, I hope you got something out of the video. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a great night, and I'll talk to you soon.